All right. Hello and welcome on the Gaithersburg Giants Broadcast Network. I'm David Lewis. Alongside me, Jake Tseronis, for a Sunday matinee here in Gaithersburg as the Gaithersburg Giants are taking on the Southern Maryland Senators. Now, Jake, last night, obviously not the way that the Giants wanted to end that game. A comeback comes up short, and we've seen that multiple times now. They were up 2-1 entering the fourth inning before there were 8 runs put up on the board by the Big Train, leading to a 9-2 deficit, and they were only able to get back 5 for a 9-7 loss. So, Jake, with that in mind, coming into tonight this evening, I should say, against a Senators team that's been slipping and sliding, as you noted, there's room to work with here.
Yeah, last night it was a great performance overall from the Giants. Unfortunately, that too little, too late theme has been a curse over the Giants season so far. So, it's not what you want to see, especially with the situation the Giants currently stand in regarding playoff spots. But as you said, going into today, the Senators are 4-6 in their last 10 after starting off 9-1. They currently stand 14-10. They're first place in their division and hold the 3 seed in the playoffs, so they're 1 game back from the Crop Dusters. But yeah, they're facing the Senators when they're not at their strongest, and today they're really going to have to take advantage of that in order to get themselves on a streak going into the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think an interesting note about today's game is going to be the starting pitcher for the Gaithersburg Giants, a debut here in Gaithersburg. It's number 30, Brady Fox, the rising sophomore at UMBC, like his teammate Logan Wiley earlier this week, debuting for Gaithersburg, will start on the mound. Meanwhile, the other starting pitcher for the Senators will be Mark Lubier, the rising sophomore at FAU, comes into this game with a 10.60 ERA. So both of these pitchers really wanting a nice start, one for kind of a redemption, one just to start off on the right foot, and Brady Fox will first face Nick Flores here. Flores pops this one into right field, tailing foul, and it does get out of play. 0-1 to the Senators shortstop.
Yeah, you talk about Lubier. He was actually starting pitcher for the Senators in the Giants season opener way back in the beginning of June. He pitched 2 1/3 innings with 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, 0 hits. However, he did have a earned run allowed.
We were both in Waldorf for that game. Seems like forever ago now. 0-1. Called strike 2 on Flores. Might have been forever ago, but it was just over a month ago. So lots of baseball has been played since then, and Gaithersburg just trying to savor this last bit of the season. 0-2 misses upstairs on Flores. Now 1-2. Flores coming into this game batting .318. Second on the team in hits with 28. First in runs with 19. And first in doubles with 7. The 1-2 to Flores. Just a simple pop-up over to Holub, who fields it in foul ground for out 1.
Yeah, nice routine play there from Holub. And kind of as mentioned, Brady Fox, another reliable pitcher from UMBC on this Giants roster. For UMBC, he had an 8.9 ERA. He had 14 appearances along with 10 starts. He had 37 strikeouts in 37 1/3 innings pitched. It's definitely a reliable arm for the Giants.
First pitch he throws to Adam Trotch in there for strike 1. Yeah, I mean, TJ Brockway has been talking through the first half of the season about needing some reliability in the starting rotation. Had a bunch of relievers have auditions starting games, but there have only been a few that worked out in the cases of Alex Angelidis and Sean McCabe. Now 0-2. That one misses outside. 1-2 the count now.
Yeah, so you talk about Angelidis. Through those first 4 innings last night, Angelidis was playing stellar baseball. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, that 3-inning stretch of 8 runs scored ended his night. However, those first 4 innings were very solid. Helped the Giants gain the lead for a little bit.
1-2 is flown out to center. Coming in is Orr, who has to dive and makes the grab. Some Heroic plays already here in the top of the first. Danny Orr flying in there to steal a hit away from Adam Trotch, and now there's 2 outs here in the top of the first.
Yeah, looking at the trajectory, I thought for sure that one was going to drop. I got some wood in my way. Couldn't see Danny Orr coming to the ball. Just saw him fly out of the corner. Or another guy's been all over the place for the Giants and has been successful everywhere.
Strike 1 called to Logan Tribble. Yeah, I mean, all over the place is right. Last night he was at first base. We've seen him in right field recently. Has played a bunch of games at third. This one popped up and out of play. Now down 0-2 is Logan Tribble. And he's even had some playing time at second base. So just missing out on center field, shortstop, and catcher is Danny Orr. 0-2 to Logan Tribble. Misses upstairs. Brady Fox going to have to wait for his first punch out as a Giant. Now a 1-2 count from Fox. Hit hard and under the glove of Holub. And the first hit of the game goes to the Southern Maryland Senators. Logan Tribble aboard with a single.
Yeah, it was just a nice piece of hitting there from Tribble. Base knock, a little close to Holub. However, wasn't able to get low enough to field that one.
Didn't get an exit velo on that one, but it tailed enough away from Holub and then got under his glove. Really just punched into the gap. That brings up Stephen Krause, the rising sophomore at Binghamton, one of 3 Binghamton products on this roster for the Senators. Swinging around and missing is Krause, who's down 0-1. Krause.
Sorry, I was going to mention how Krause is 290 on the season with 12 RBIs.
Runner takes off here. There's going to be a throw down to second. The tag, they say, not there. The leg of Tribble getting under the tag of Hentz.
Yeah, some nice base running from Tribble there. Zach White has thrown a number of guys out at second base. He had the throw to do it there, just unfortunately, Tribble got the best of him at second.
And it did look like to me that the foot did get around the tag. It was a really nice throw, as you noted, by Zach White. Just didn't have the tag down. 1-1, chopped over to Holub. Fox is going to have to cover first, gets the throw, and steps on first. Bang, bang play at first. Gets the third out of the inning, stranding Tribble on second. So Brady Fox, pretty sound first inning as a Giant, and will step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network as Gaithersburg grabs the bat. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Special shout out to the PA man for tonight. Former colleague of mine, Tyler Lochte, was the Gaithersburg Giants main play-by-play commentator the last 2 summers. Tyler, a recent graduate of UMD, and now the future UMD Terrapin, Nate Houghton-Henley, will step up. First batter faced by Loubier, and first ball thrown by Loubier.
Yeah, Henley didn't have too much of a productive night last night. Left Shirley Porchfield with no hits. His batting average now stands at .231 on the season.
Yeah, had a interesting strike 3 called on him that, speaking to me after the game, was still not in agreement about where that one was located. Now 2-1 the count to Nate Houghton-Henley. Fouled off by Henley to even the count at 2-2. Here's the TrackMan here. Is not quite up yet. 2-2 is lined out. Wish we had an exit velo on that one, but Henley late on it, so 2-2 the count remains.
I can't tell if he hit a pole or he hit something metal, a big ding at the end of that hit.
2-2 misses upstairs, full count. I'm sure he would have liked that to be one of the light poles out in straightaway center, not foul. But either way, full count now to Henley. This one hit hard and over the head of Vincent. A hard turnaround first by Henley, but he'll stay there. So a leadoff single for Gaithersburg brings up Danny Orr.
Yeah, nice hit from Henley right over second baseman Vincent. Made his way into the outfield. As you mentioned, a hard turn to second base that was quickly stopped after the ball was fielded. But a great way to start the bats for the Giants.
The grass here at Criswell Automotive Field, very thick, slows down the ball or fouls off the first pitch. So had it not slowed the ball down too much, it may have gotten well on its way to the warning track, giving Henley extra bases. 0-1 now to Danny Orr. This is upstairs. 1-1. Orr trying to help out his teammate Brady Fox on the mound. Both of them UMBC retrievers, both from the same class. Rising sophomores. 1-1. Pickoff attempt at first. Danny Orr, brother of, and now the throw gets away back to the pitcher, and Henley will move on to second. So the throw back from Steven Krause at first did not make its way into the glove of his pitcher Loubier, and a pickoff attempt ultimately leads to an extra base for Henley.
Yeah, Krause seems to be still waking up out there, just completely missed. Loubier on the mound and heads up base running from Henley gets him an extra bag.
Henley goes on this pitch and is immediately on third base. 2-1 the count after that called ball. So in one pitch, Henley ultimately moves up 2 bases after the error on Steven Krause. 2-1 pitch. Called strike on the outside, evening the count at 2-2. Henley was critically stranded at third last night when he made his way to third on a error by the pitcher for Big Train. This one swung at in the dirt, drop third strike, throw down to first is in time. Krause has that one in his glove. Henley did not try and advance home, so one away here on the confirmed strikeout of Danny Orr.
Yeah, back to what you just said, Davis. I was just thinking about how Henley was left on third base in a critical point in the game last night. And, of course, still got 2 more outs to go. Plenty of opportunity to get Henley home. However, we would hate to see lightning strike twice.
Andrew Holub watches strike one, and we talk about stranding runners on base. Holub able to come through back in the third inning of the game at Bethesda, not stranding two runners on second and third. He pops this one up, however, in the infield. Calling for it is Danny Surowick, and the third baseman has it. 2 away quickly here for Gaithersburg.
Yeah, right before that pop fly, we were talking about Holub last night. He finished 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, so didn't start off today how he would like. However, did have a productive night last night. Continued his productive short season so far.
That brings up Colin Hughes. First pitch to Hughes misses upstairs. Holub has played in more games now than he did last summer. It was just 7 last summer with Gaithersburg, and now the start today, dragging that number up to 9. Freezing the hands there. Now 2-0 the count to Colin Hughes.
Hughes was 1 for 4 last night with a single and a sac fly. So not one of his best performances we've seen this season. Still managed to have some production.
Yeah, Hughes with a .467 on base percentage and an OPS above 900. The only bat in this game with an OPS above 900. That one misses upstairs, 3-0.
Yeah, just we were talking about what seemed like only 2 minutes ago. It's Henley now on third base with 2 outs.
3-0 pitch. Needed to find the zone, and it does. On Colin Hughes, 3-1 the count. Base hit here would definitely drive in Henley. 3-1. Misses out, or looked like it missed outside, and then Hughes tossed his bat, had me fooled. But a full count. That last pitch definitely seemed a little more outside than the previous one, which already looked borderline to me. But full count, 2 outs. Loubier trying to get through 1 inning. Called strike 3. A little elevated for Hughes. And obviously he is a little disappointed in the outcome of that at-bat. Henley stranded on third, as we were mentioning, so unable to plate Henley after getting to third base on an error and stolen base.
Yeah, just not how you wanted to end the first inning if you're the Giants. However, we'll have plenty of more opportunity. We are very early in this game, but Loubier already matching his strikeout count the last time we played the Giants, as we find ourselves in an early pitching duel.
Loubier with 2 punch-outs in the bottom of the first. Brady Fox will come out. Does not have a punch-out yet, but had a really nice first inning of work. We'll step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Gaithersburg stranding Nate Houghton Henley, who had a leadoff single back in the bottom of the first. Brady Fox, who let up 1 single, and then stranded Logan Tribble on second base back in the top of the first, steps back onto the mound. He first faces Jackson Nichols, who had a nice frame job a couple times on Colin Hughes to end that first inning.
Yeah, definitely some calls the Giants didn't agree with in the bottom of the first. Nevertheless, it ended with the Giants remaining scoreless.
That one misses high and outside on Nichols. Nichols batting .268 coming into this game. And then fouls that one off 1-1.
You mentioned Nichols batting .268. He's only had 41 plate appearances, one of the lower numbers on the team. However, has 4 doubles in those 41 plate appearances.
1-1. Chopped over to Cantiliano at second. Has to wait for the high hop, but he does deliver the throw well in time. And there's one away here in the top of the second.
Yeah, it looked like that one might have bounced right on the lip between the grass and the dirt. Some quick reaction from Cantiliano allows him to feel that one cleanly to first base. He's been one of the most reliable defenders on this Giants team. Him alongside Aiden Marino. Of course, now we have Cade Hentz working the middle infield as well, but that's definitely been a strong point for this Giants defense.
First pitch to Danny Surowick is low. Yeah, you mentioned a strong point of this defense. Cantiliano, one of the guys that really hasn't moved around at all, been at second base in pretty much every single game he has played. I don't remember seeing him in a different position really at all this season. The 1-1 to Danny Surowick. Misses outside. Surowick has the team lead with 18 strikeouts, but is tied for the team lead with 2 home runs. So Surowick just go big or go home for him as he tips that one back into the glove of Zach White, evening the count at 2-2.
Definitely the modern age of MLB baseball, lots of strikeouts. However, if he does make contact with the ball, most of the time it's going far.
2-2, misses outside, full count. Now to Danny Surowick. Surowick also has the team leading 7 errors that I noticed. Kind of a glaring stat. I know he had one last time the Senators were here. He hits this one hard into right field, and that'll stay fair. Into the corner, Babayev just gets to it now. Surowick will just stay at second base in there with a double.
Yeah, I think Surowick might have hurt his feelings a little bit, gave him some extra confidence for that full count hit. Just gets a nice piece of it down the first base line and a nice stand-up double to start the top of the second for the Senators.
And it was put really well into the corner. Took a while for Babayev to get to it, which is why I was surprised that Surowick only made it to second base. But either way, the second runner in scoring position for the Senators. They stranded Tribble last inning, but now Carter Groen steps up to the plate. Groen fouls off the first pitch. Groen tied with Surowick for the team leading 2 home runs. But last summer for the Senators, Groen had a league-leading 9 home runs across the entire summer. The Yukon Husky is just batting 169, however, coming into today.
I was going to mention, very similar to Surowick, leads the team in home runs, however, a much lower batting average in Surowick, both of them 2 of the lowest on the team.
Yeah, it's always interesting when these guys return and sometimes they seemingly go backwards. Groen pops this one up. Holub calls for it, pretty much only Holub's ball, and he makes it on the corner of the infield dirt. 2 gone here after the pop out of Carter Groen.
Second time Holub's had a routine pop fly hit right to him. Thankfully, he's been able to handle those balls very well.
Yeah, had one that was a really tough catch last night in Bethesda. Ultimately, the play was made by the second baseman that night, Aiden Marino. First pitch to Alex Martin. The designated hitter is called strike 1.
Martin, another guy in this lineup with a large deficit in plate appearances, only 20, but batting .200 in those 20 plate appearances with 3 doubles.
0-1. Fouls this one off. Yeah, I was going to mention the 3 doubles, 3 of his 4 hits being doubles. That is kind of an insane level of production if you can keep it up across more than just a handful of plate appearances. But he's down 0-2. 2 outs here. Brady Fox Still looking for that first punch out. Can he get it here and strand Surowick? 0-2. Fouled off. Martin able to stay alive.
Yeah, Senators have done a good job of making it hard for Fox to get that final punch out. He's had multiple at-bats with 2 strikes thrown. However, they've ended in mostly pop-outs and ground-outs. Only 2 hits allowed so far.
0-2. Called strike 3, and there is the first punch out. Alex Martin stands there for a second, but either way, he has to go back to his dugout. He doesn't have to take the field, though, unlike his teammates, as Gaithersburg will now go on offense. We'll head to the bottom of the second, 0-0 here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Another runner stranded in scoring position in this game. 1 in each half inning. And still 0-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Gaithersburg has gotten the farthest on the base paths, but Nate Houghton-Henley stranded on third at the end of the first inning. Bryce Rudisil will be the first to try and change that. Rudisil leaves that first pitch from Loubier out, and it's 1-0.
Rudisil, one of the few names we didn't see in last night's lineup. This season he's batting .234. I got a pair of doubles to his name.
He hits that one hard and out of play. And now the TrackMan has come back up, so we have the live speed back for you here on the stream. 1-1 to Rudisil. Leaves that one out again. 2-1.
Umpire making it a little confusing for us up here, and I'm sure the batters. That ball was called a strike at least 2 times so far in this game.
Interesting to see the discrepancies occasionally. Umpires are human. No mistake there. Swinging around is Rudisil, 2-2. Two-two pitch. Popped up by Rudisil and sounds like it clips the net and falls right onto our roof.
Make that twice fell right onto our roof. It bounced right in front of us on the concrete in front of the concession stand, excuse me.
Maybe I should have jumped out there to grab it. Either way, 2-2 count remains here for Rudisil. In at third base for this evening. He hits this one just a loft into center, and Flores able to flag it down as it hung up in the air for quite a while. And there's one away.
Yeah, Rudisil definitely got jammed on that one. Ball, if it a little more higher on his bat, could have flown out farther into center field and dropped. Nevertheless, an easy play for Flores.
It was 86, pretty much just at the top of the zone for Rudisil, but still, as you said, jammed him up and didn't really get a good piece of it, didn't fall in time, and just the hang time alone allowed Flores to flag it down. Cade Hentz, who was the one who extended last night's game, 1-0, now 2-0. Hentz in his second summer with Gaithersburg, this just his fourth game for the Giants since returning. Now faces a 2-0 count. Watches strike one, and now 2-1 to Cade Hentz.
Yeah, you mentioned his RBI single in the ninth, where, before that there was no production from Hentz, but that was a theme for the Giants. A lot of guys getting solo RBIs.
He hits this one into left field, and that'll be down for a single, but another big turn by Hentz, and wisely returning back to first. The throw did get into second quicker than Hentz probably would have been there.
Yeah, that one coming off the bat, almost 7 miles faster than the pitch. Hit nicely down the line, and again, another large round of first base, however, remains.
Yeah, that one was low and inside on Cade Hentz, but he was able to pull around on that baseball and kept it fair as well. First pitch to Babayev. Misses low. Babayev, another one of those guys who extended the game last night. He actually was the tying run on base, but then was stranded in the final moments of a comeback that came up short for Gaithersburg. 1-0. Misses outside. 2-0.
Yeah, you talk about just another guy who was able to get some life going in the ninth. Babayev, worse. Just like Hentz was 1 for 5. He had 3 groundouts in a row. Hits the ball on the ground again in the ninth last night. However, was able to find a gap.
He's trying to find a gap here with Hentz on first. 2-0. Hentz takes off. 3-0 at the high pitch. The tag out at second is Hentz. A really close play. And there's some reactions from the Giants dugout after that one. You have to remember, previously in this game, Logan Tribble was safe at second, and then Hentz out at second there. 3-0, bases empty. This one popped up into center. Calling for it is Adam Trotch, who makes the grab for out number 3. No base runners stranded this time after Hentz was caught stealing. And we'll go to the third inning here on the Giants Broadcast Network.
One, two.
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Brady Fox back out for a third inning of work. And for the first time in the bottom half of the second, no base runners stranded as Cade Hentz was caught stealing. Scoring a bunt on the first pitch, but called strike one on Cale Vinson. the rising senior at Middle Tennessee State. In at second base for this Sunday matinee, 0-1, and that's called ball one at 89 from Brady Fox. That one misses in the same spot as the previous pitch, 2-1 now to Cale Vinson. Misses outside, 3-1. That third ball missing further than the previous two. Cale Vinson looking for base hit or ball four, but swings and misses there. And it's a full count to the 9-0 hitter for the Senators. Full count pitch. Tipped foul out of the glove of White. A little frustrated with himself. He couldn't squeeze that one. Would have been the second strikeout for Brady Fox. Back-to-back punch-outs as well. Has to go again here. Full count. Misses outside, and it's ball four for Cale Vinson.
Yeah, Fox just a little too outside that entire at-bat, especially that full count pitch. Of course, you need to be extra safe up there with two strikes. However, Vinson knew that one was far outside for his third walk of the season.
And that'll bring up the leadoff hitter at the top of the lineup for the Senators, Nick Flores. That one hops out of the glove of White, and Vinson will easily swipe second. The third runner on second base for the Senators. They've had one in every inning now. Still haven't made one count, but they have a good opportunity here with the top of the order in Nick Flores, up 1-0.
Yeah, stat you mentioned earlier, Flores leads his team with 7 doubles.
He pops this one, however, at the top of the net and back down into the glove of Zach White. Unfortunately, doesn't count as an out coming off the foul net. 1-1. Flores popped out to Holub, his first time up at first base. That pitch inside and low, 2-1. Was slower and had a little, actually same speed, but had a little bit more movement than the single Cade Hentz had in the last inning, but pretty much the same spot on Nick Flores. 2-1, fouled off. Now 2-2 the count. Vinson, who stands on second, has just 26 at-bats in the 12 games he's played before that walk, so I would assume a bunch of half games for him. 2-2. This one chopped over to Rudisil at third, who has to throw, not setting his feet, and a nice pick by Holub at first.
Yeah, you say nice pick. I mean, I didn't. I saw the throw from Rudisil, looked a little short, didn't think it was going to even get there in time, and Holub just snags that thing out of air. I believed he was obviously lunged over. That ball was all the way up at his head, at least his chest when he fielded that. Just a great play from the first baseman.
Yeah, really nice pick. He's wearing a big smile on his face as Andrew Holub. Always feels good as a first baseman to get a nice pick like that. Strike one called to Adam Trotch after he squared the bunt and pulled it back. So Cale Vinson did not advance on that ground ball over to Rudisil. Cade Hentz ran over to cover third in case, but Vinson elected to stay put. 0-1 now to the Duke Blue Devil. He hits this one over to Rudisil again. Now another throw that he makes easier than the previous one. And there's 2 outs. And the dugout getting behind Rudisil after back-to-back putouts by the Mount St. Mary's man.
Yeah, Rudisil made sure that throw was not short at all. Threw that one on a rope to Holub. And once again, as you mentioned, Vincent stays on second base. Situational play and hitting has also been improving for the Giants, something we talked about a lot last night in the first half of the game. So glad to see the situational play from the Giants still exceeding.
First pitch to Tribble. You always love, as a pitcher, when your defense has your back. Rudisil motioning over to the Senators' dugout. There's only one Mount St. Mary's guy on the Senators' roster. It's Nate Berzonski, the pitcher. So I'm not sure if it's Berzonski or someone else Rudisil knows. Tribble swings and misses there. Now 1-1. But the first put out by Rudisil on Nick Flores, he didn't have time to set his feet. Kind of pushed himself backwards, actually, and then still delivered the throw over to Holub. 1-1 misses low and inside. 2-1 at 90. So Fox reaching the upper part of the speeds we see here in the Cal Ripken League. We've seen 94 most recently from Josh Zuckerman on the T-Bolts. 2-1. That one skips in, hits the umpire going down to third. The tag at third. They say safe, a delayed safe call. Home plate umpire was shaken up. And so we'll check on the home plate umpire here, who got shaken up on that pitch. A really delayed safe call from the third base umpire. I honestly thought he was waiting to see if Rudisil had the ball, and when Rudisil showed him the ball, thought that would be an out, but safe was the call. And now a runner on third in Cale Vincent.
With that, I know you didn't want to mention it last night when it happened, but that was Dwight Godwin that just made that call. Him and manager TJ Brockway got into it last night, led to Brockway being ejected. And, with that call, we also heard a lot of laughs from the dugout and fans of the Giants. Dugout.
That one misses outside. It's ball 4 to Logan Tribble. Second walk issued in this inning by Fox. Most base runners in the same inning this game for either team. Now runners on the corners, 2 away here for the Senators cleanup hitter Steven Krause.
Krause, as I mentioned, his first at bat has 12 RBIs, and a good spot here to add one more to that tally, batting .290 on the season as well.
Vincent on third. This one grounded over to Cantiliano. Fields it on a short hop, but it goes over his glove and into right field. Babayev fields it. Tribble makes his way to third, and it's 1-0 Senators as a short hop goes over the glove of Cantiliano.
Cantiliano was caught a little bit in no man's land there. The ball came off the bat at 93, so it didn't have much time to adjust the bounces, and it's just a couple inches behind where he needed to be to field that ball cleanly, and allows Cade Vincent to come in and score.
So Cale Vincent, a walk, 2 stolen bases, and then scoring off that error. Swing and missing now is Jax Nichols.
And again, that was just unfortunate. We were just talking about how much of a defensive asset Cantiliano's been this season. Just the bounce gets the best of him there.
Broadcaster's jinx strikes a little late there. 0-1, swing and a miss by Nichols. Frustrated with himself now as he's been hitting air on these last 2 pitches. 0-2, 2 outs to Nichols. Swing and a miss by Nichols. 3 pitches, 3 swings and misses. And the Senators do grab 1 run, but they strand 2 as Brady Fox has worked himself a nice 3-inning start thus far for Gaithersburg. And now the Giants look to respond. They responded last night to 1 run pretty quickly from the big train. Can they do it here on this Sunday afternoon in Gaithersburg? We'll step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network.
Ready?
Yeah. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Mark Loubier back out on the mound for the Senators. Came into this game with a 10-plus ERA, but has worked 2 innings scoreless, giving up 2 singles thus far. Now Gaithersburg down 1-0 after the Senators plate 1 in the top half of the third. First pitch to Quintiliano. Low part of the zone, but strike 1 called on the Seton Hall Pirate. Oh, 1. This one hit hard and into right field. That drops right next to Carter Groen. And so Quintiliano, trying to make up for his error in the top half of this inning, gets it started there with a nice single.
That Quintiliano with an almost exact replica of Henley's leadoff single to start this game. Nice pop right over Vincent at second base.
Left the bat at 90. Pretty much the first pitch that Quintiliano saw, but just a little bit more elevated. And a really nice pitch to hit for Quintiliano. First pitch to Zach White, misses inside on the Giants backstop. It's 1-0.
Similar to Quintiliano and Redicell, those are the 3 guys who we did not see in last night's game, but on the season, White's batting .200.
1-0, he hits this one the opposite way and into right field. Another single to keep the train moving. Opposite field slap there. Really not too much on it, but just placed perfectly to advance everyone safely.
Yeah, that's the beauty of baseball. The best hits, sometimes you're gonna be lined out right to center field, right field, left field, whoever it may be, and sometimes those bloopers just find the right spot on the field.
So the pitching coach for the Senators out there to talk to Mark Loubier. That is not Scott Middleton, the head coach for the Senators, to make a change. So Loubier remains in this game, has given up 2 singles, one of them hard hit, one of them not hard hit, to start this inning to bring up the top of the order in Nate Houghton-Henley.
Yeah, hard hit or not, the Giants find themselves in a great position here to answer back to the 1 run scored by the Senators, something they did well early last night against the Big Train.
Nate Houghton-Henley led off this Giants lineup with a single back in the bottom of the first, but first pitch clips him instead of his bat, and he's aboard, bases loaded, no outs now for Danny Orr.
That's about as easy as an at-bat as you can get. Hit Henley on some batter's protection on his outside shoulder. No harm, no foul, and he will take first base any day of the week.
First pitch to Orr with the bases loaded. Called strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Now 0-1 to Orr. Struck out his first time up. Swings and misses there. He's quickly down 0-2. Orr started this season on fire, but has racked up the strikeouts of late. Trying to avoid that similar fate here. 0-2. Tips this one just enough foul.
Yeah, I thought I heard that one hit his bat. It was just enough, though. Thought it was a drop third strike for a second. You mentioned the start of Orr's season. Even with the strikeouts, start of the season was done well enough to have him named an All-Star.
0-2 misses upstairs. 1-2. And yeah, that one barely clipped the bat to be foul. It would have been a strikeout of Orr, but it would have been a live ball. So could have allowed Quintiliano to score as it got away from Nichols. But 1-2 the count. This one hit high into straightaway center. This will likely be deep enough for Quintiliano. Zach White tags. And now the slippage there of the first baseman, Kraus, allows everyone to be safe. Henley had to wait because there was some hesitation from Zach White. Either way, an RBI sac fly for Danny Orr ties the game at 1 apiece, and Zach White now 90 feet away.
Yeah, easy base running from Contigliano there. He was for sure going to come in safe. However, it was some heads-up base running from Zach White. Managed to get the third base. Some awkward play. I believe it was Vincent who fielded that ball from center fielder Trotch, but no more harm besides the pop out for the Giants.
That first pitch to Holub comes in high. Yeah, it was really an awkward base running for White and Henley because White kind of started the tag, and then sometimes base runners do fake the tag, but that one went a little far. Henley goes, high throw, but no throw down by Nichols, and Henley, his second stolen base of this game. Now 2 runners in scoring position yet again for the Giants, and Andrew Holub's hot bat.
Yeah, I believe Henley stole second base diving headfirst. That's what his coach Gibbs said he needed to do more when stealing bags.
2-0. Finds the zone on Holub, 2-1. Yeah, Casey Gibbs, the third base coach now for the Giants. Mentioned us pregame how Henley had a tendency to slide feet first, but now adjusting more to college level play, sliding in face first is a lot easier to get around the tag with swing moves and other things. 3-1 now the count to Andrew Holub. Swing and a miss from Holub. Full count pitch to the newly signed University of South Carolina upstate Andrew Holub. Went in the portal from Iowa. This one he tags, popped up into foul territory, tails out of play just barely to the sigh of relief of Holub. And he keeps this at-bat going. Full count remains.
I can't tell if it is Nichols yelling, but there is a Senator who is being very vocal on those infield pop flies.
Yeah, earlier it was Flores who had the vocal on the almost drop third strike of Danny Orr. He was able to get a piece of it and then got a sac fly on the next pitch. But here's the full count from Loubier. Check swing, and they say he didn't go, so Holub's aboard with a walk to load the bases yet again, this time for Colin Hughes.
Holub was helping out the home plate umpire there. He held his bat still and was saying no, 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 no.
I do think Holub held up, but he probably benefited from the fact that the umpires were shifted over. So the first base umpire was over at second. Hughes tips this one right off the mask of Nichols, who appears to be all right, and put the mask right back on.
Yeah, I think he took a second to just catch some fresh air. And of course, that's why the catchers have all the gear they do.
0-1, 1 out here to Colin Hughes. Bases loaded. Trying to take the lead. Misses low. 1-1 the count now to Colin Hughes.
And that last walk to Holub was Lumiere's first of the game. So now has recorded a strikeout, walk, and hit in his outing.
Another pitch low on Colin Hughes. 2-1. There is action in the Senators' bullpen. We can hear it. So obviously the Senators hope Loubier could get through 3, but through just 2 1/3, having issues here. Bases loaded, 2-1, 1 out. Hughes flies this one into foul ground, tailing out of play, and it does get out of play. 2-2 the count now.
And, runners left on base has been a topic of this season and this game already. So with bases loaded and 1 out, the Giants are looking to get, of course, 1, but I'd say at least 2 more runners in to take the lead for the first time this game.
Shaking off his pitcher is Lubier. Now delivers 2-2. This one chopped over the head and off the glove of the first baseman Kraus. White scores. Holding at third is Henley. And the screen of Holub disrupting that play for Kraus. Holub basically stayed with that baseball and just kept the eyes of Kraus off of it.
Yeah, another time where a fielder, this time Kraus, finds himself in an awkward position to field that ball. Like I said, I think he was a foot or two too far back to field that one cleanly. And the Giants take the lead for the first time this game.
2-1 Giants lead. Rudisil pops the first pitch into the foul netting. 0-1 the count. Bases remain loaded after Colin Hughes reaches on an error. 0-1. He tags this one and into right field. Henley scores. Being held at third is Holub. Throw is cut off by Kraus. And it's 3-1 Gaithersburg. It's no extra base hits thus far for the Giants. Just singles and errors that they've taken advantage of to just move up an extra 90 feet. And that will see Mark Lubier's day done.
Yeah, you were saying that. I was just going to mention how there has not been a earned run scorer. There was on both teams. Their first run was scored with a reached on error. And there we have our first RBI single.
And a new pitcher will warm up for the Senators after the slap-happy offense of Gaithersburg has gotten things going. 3-1 now the score as we step away on the Giants Broadcast Network.
One, two.
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. A new arm on the mound for the Senators. It's another familiar face for the Giants. The junior from Shepherd, number 27, Alan Miller.
Yeah, Alan Miller, another guy who came in relief for that first game, also played the Giants on June 9th. This season, Alan Miller has an ERA of 5.19. He's played in 7 games, no starts. He has 8 2/3 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, and 7 walks. So a more reliable arm on this coming in for the Senators.
First pitch to Cade Hentz was ball 1. Hentz fouls the second pitch up and into the netting. He has bases loaded, 1 out. Giants have already plated 3. And Miller making his 8th appearance, his 4th game against Gaithersburg as well. So 1-1, 1 out, bases loaded. It's Holub on third, Hughes on second, and Rudisil on first. Inside on Hentz, now 2-1.
Yeah, you talk about the 4 appearances he's made now. Only 2 runs have been scored on him by the Giants.
He is currently not responsible for anyone on the base paths. The 3 runners belong to Mark Lubier, the starter for the Senators, chased out of this game after 2 1/3. Now 3-1, nowhere to put Cade Hentz. Got to find the zone here if you're Alan Miller. And he does not. So that will walk a run home for Gaithersburg, and that'll bring up their 9th batter of this inning in Aaron Babayev. It's now 4-1.
Yeah, never easy coming into the game with the bases loaded, but you do not want to start off with a walk like that, especially a 5-pitch, pretty easy at bat for Cade Hentz.
And that'll bring up Aaron Babayev now. First pitch Babayev sees, pretty much right down the middle on the former Tulane Green Wave, who then transferred to the College of San Mateo. Now back in the portal, looking to go back up to the D1 level. 0-1, misses outside, 1-1. Babayev went down to the JUCO level to play his spring ball, and then now looking for a new home, trying to add to this 3-run lead, has 3 base runners on, tips that one back off the glove of Nichols, and Babayev down 1-2.
Yeah, Babayev in his last at-bat popped up, looking for something a little better, but I don't think he would mind a deep pop fly into the outfield to bring 1 run in.
So Gaithersburg, the one out this inning was a Danny Orr sac fly. That pitch well inside on Aaron Babayev, now 2-2.
And you mentioned that pop fly, that out from Danny Orr feels like forever ago.
2-2, 1 out. This one hit hard and tucked in the first base line. Hughes scores. Rudisil scores. Hentz is being sent around. The throw home, the tag, the ball gets away, and Hentz is safe at home. A 3 RBI double for Aaron Babayev. And we talked about it last night. He had the doubles, didn't quite have the RBIs to match, but that certainly equates things for Aaron Babayev.
Yeah, there you go for Babayev, getting hot early in this game. Of course, you mentioned his RBI single in the 9th last night, but right there, that bases clearing double gets a early and extends this lead for the Giants. Now they are up 6 and still only 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd.
Babayev now tied for the team lead with Orr and Krieger with 5 doubles after that one, but just added 3 RBIs to his count. It's now 7-1 Gaithersburg, and Michael Cantiliano with his second at-bat of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, it brings, similar to the score, brings his RBI count up to 7.
This pitch gets away from Nichols, and Babayev will move up to third base. Once again, there has not been an unproductive out in this inning. The one out was a sac fly for an RBI for Danny Orr, so the one out did drive in a run. Cantiliano pops this one up into shallow center. Trotch ranging in. Trotch able to make the grab, and he'll throw it home. The first unproductive out this inning, but the second at bat for Cantiliano. The infield was playing in, so Flores, who might have been the one to backtrack and grab that one, instead Trotch had to sprint all the way in from center and gets them out. Now 2 away here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, Trotch didn't have to leave his feet. That did not mean he was not sprinting as hard as he could to that ball. His momentum made it an easy decision for Babayev to remain on third base.
This brings up Zach White. First pitch to White inside for ball 1. Yeah, Trotch with insane speed has shown it multiple times defensively in front of us here on the Giants Broadcast Network, but also 16 stolen bases this season. Zach White puts this on the ground to Surwick, bobbles it, throws over now, and gets the 3rd out. Alan Miller comes in, gives up a 3 RBI double to Aaron Babayev, and extends the lead, a 7 spot for Gaithersburg in the bottom of the 3rd. It's 7-1 here on the Giants Broadcast Network.
1-2.
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. A response from Gaithersburg, and what a response it was. Brady Fox allows 1 run in the top of the 3rd, but his offense responds with 7. Now 7-1 entering the 4th inning, and that brings up Danny Surwick.
Yeah, lots of productivity all the way down the lineup from the Giants. Started with Michael Contigliano getting a base knock, and from there on, the whole team was batting around.
Oh and 1. And you do mention batting around. Both Contigliano and Zach White getting second at-bats in just the 3rd inning. Now 1-1, the count to Danny Surwick. Misses outside 2-1 from Fox. 2-1. That one hits Surwick on the elbow guard. Was starting a check swing, ultimately wanted to get out of the way of it, and he's aboard with a hit by pitch to lead off this inning.
Again, I believe Surwick had some arm guard on there. However, that one seemed to hurt a little more than Henley's hit by pitch. Shows a confident jog over to first base after taking off his gear.
That'll bring up Carter Groen. Again, both Groen and Surwick, the big heavy hitters for this Senators team, both with 2 home runs this season. Groen watches strike 1. Obviously, both of them would probably like to be on base a little more often, but Surwick getting hit by pitch certainly improves that. 0-1, swing and a miss from Groen. He's now down 0-2. So now an 0-2, misses upstairs on the Yukon Husky.
Now you talk about on-base percentage for Surwick and Groen. However, Surwick has been hit 13 times this season, so a couple more than usual.
Strike 3 called on Groen. He is retired for the 2nd time tonight, first time on strikes. Back to what you were saying about the hit by pitches.
Yeah, Groen only been hit by 5, but with that strikeout, Groen has now tied Surwick for the most strikeouts on the Senators roster. So, you know, what you said at the start of Groen's at bat, these two very similar players. Lots of power, however, you don't get to show that power too often.
First pitch called strike 1 to Alex Martin. And in addition to Carter Groen, another surprise to me was Josh Erd on the T-Bolts. Erd was batting over 400 last summer with the T-Bolts, and then this summer is just above 200. So a massive change in a year, and for Groen, a similar thing, 9 home runs to 2 home runs, as well as a batting average drop that I don't know the exact numbers to, but came into today batting 169 and is 0 for 2, so has only seen it decrease. 1-2, now the count to Alex Martin.
Martin, 1 of 2 strikeouts looking today. The other Colin Hughes.
One, 2. Misses upstairs, 2-2.
Brady Fox looking for his 3rd punch out. Hasn't had too many of those. Lots of pop outs and ground outs he's pitched the Senators into. He's been the most successful pitcher in this game so far.
2-2 popped up, and Cade Hentz calls for it at the very edge of the infield dirt, but pretty much in the shortstop position, and there's 2 gone in the top of the 4th. That'll bring up the bottom of the lineup card for the Senators. Cale Vincent, who walked and then came around to score to start the top of the 3rd. The only run thus far for Swing and a miss from Vincent.
Yeah, lots of Brady Fox has started off a lot of his at-bats with swings and misses. It's what you want to see from your starting guy. Very effective so far today.
This one's popped up and off one of the foul net poles. Holub makes the grab, giving himself a little bit of practice there on those sharp pop-ups.
Oh, another big smile on his face. Not the first time we've seen that today.
0-2, 2 outs. And that one tipped back into the glove of White. The fourth punch-out for Brady Fox, who's through 4 innings. An amazing debut here in Gaithersburg for the UMBC Retriever. And it's the top of the order due up for Gaithersburg, who plated 7 in the last inning. Let's see what more damage can be done here as Alan Miller goes back out on the mound for the Senators when we come back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Jake Tseronis. I'm David Lewis. And Jake, 7-1 entering the bottom of the fourth. A really nice start again by Brady Fox in his debut. But I mean, again, for just a Giants starting pitcher, I mean, this is now almost half a week's worth of really nice starts for Gaithersburg.
Yeah, a note I put before this game where the Giants are starting to put it together. Obviously, we're a little late in the season. However, the Giants last night were able to respond to a 1-run lead game by the Big Train an inning later. Of course, the Giants responded much heavier today, but they've looked like a much more complete team recently. And, as you mentioned before, it's a time when they need it, coming close to the end of the season.
Nate Houghton Henley down 0-2. Yeah, we're really pretty much headed down the stretch here. Under 15 games to play, including this one. 0-2 is hit the other way by Henley again. So 2 opposite field knocks for Nate Houghton Henley. 2 for 2, reached base all 3 times. And leading off the top of the fourth as he did the top of the first, a leadoff single for the future Terrapin.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, Henley left last night hitless. Today already has 2, and as you mentioned, has an OBP of 1,000.
Danny Orr pops this one up and out of play over to the playground here at Harriet Tubman Elementary School, just off to our right, off of Criswell Automotive Field in Kelly Park. 0-1 now to Danny Orr. Pickoff move on Henley. Henley has 2 stolen bases in this game already. Both one on each of his previous trips on the base paths. This one hit hard by Danny Orr into right field. Groen able to catch it. Now throw to first. Trying to get Henley on the double play, but not in time. Throw skips off of Kraus, but just the 1 out done there.
Yeah, that's, I think, the 4th ball hit in that direction. Of course, right over the second baseman's head. This time, the ball came off of Orr's bat at 97 miles per hour, so it flew right over to Groen where he was standing, and Henley had to sprint back to first base.
Brings up Andrew Holub. That pitch went over the head of Holub, who had to duck, able to get the bat down. Saw a couple days ago one of the T-Bolts players didn't get his bat down and ended up fouling it off of his bat. Nate Houghton-Henley goes low pitch, no throw, as a new catcher actually in the game. It's Chet Bowling, I believe. I'm trying to get the number.
I believe it's number 40.
Cannot see the number because of the catcher's gear. It is not Jax Nichols anymore.
The number is 40, it's Logan Cade. He is on the Senators roster as a pitcher.
Wearing Maryland gear. 2-1. That pitch upstairs. No throw again by our mystery catcher. But 2 stolen bases and a 3-1 count. 2 stolen bases to Nate Houghton-Henley, that is. So now he's up to 4 in this game already. Infield now plays in 3-1 to Andrew Holub. Tips this one back towards our camera. Hopefully it didn't jar too much and you can still see all of the infield.
David was working real hard pregame to make sure that camera was not going to move, and that ball as close to the camera as it could get stays still.
This one hit right back up into center. That falls in front of Adam Trotch. And an 8th run scores. Nate Houghton-Henley with his 2 stolen bases after a single. And his 2nd run scored this game.
Yeah, just another 2-strike hit from the Giants this inning. A nice piece of hitting from Holub. Now he has 3 RBIs in 2 games. Continues his productive season so far.
That brings up Colin Hughes. First pitch to Hughes is low. Miller struggling to find the zone. First batter he faced last inning was Cade Hentz with the bases loaded. Walked him, and then a 3 RBI stand-up double by Aaron Babayev, and then was able to fly out Michael Cantiliano and then get a ground out of Zach White to finally end the 3rd inning for the Senators. But now in not even his 2nd frame of pitching. Oh, I guess now it is because he's recorded the 1 out. But Miller still struggling to find the zone. 2-1.
Yeah, you talk about the production last inning. Miller still looking for his first strikeout.
2-1 to Hughes. Now 3-1. And I wasn't going to mention this while Holub was at bat, but Holub in 33 at-bats coming into this game, just 3 strikeouts. And now with the 3 at-bats today, does not have a strikeout. Well, actually, only 2 at-bats because he does have a walk. So 35. And now this is lined over to second. Holub has to get back. And a double play completed. Cale Vinson catches that line out off the bat of Colin Hughes and throws it over to first to complete the double play.
Yeah, not much Holub could do there. Just got caught in no man's land, just getting a couple jump steps after the hit. Nevertheless, the Giants still able to add to their run tally and extends the lead to 7.
Yeah, it was just a tough double play there, and that's the 2nd line out in that inning that maybe should have fallen for Gaithersburg. They're already up 7 after an RBI single from Andrew Holub, makes it 8-1. A new pitcher coming out on the mound for Gaithersburg. It's number 43 and an all-star, Britton Wildeson. When we come back, Wildeson will be all warmed up on the Giants Broadcast Network. Anyways.
You ready?
Yeah. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Just before we went to break, as I mentioned, another all-star on the mound for Gaithersburg. Britton Wildison being named one of the 5 Giants all-stars for this upcoming all-star game on Wednesday. First pitch to Wildison to Nick Flores is strike 1. You can buy those tickets online. Game is at Shirley Povich Field, home of the Big Train in Bethesda, Maryland. 0-1. This one tipped foul, now 0-2. I should also mention that before that All-Star game takes place at 6 p.m., a Hall of Fame induction for 2 league alums in the MLB, one of which a Giants legend, Jordan Westburg, for those Orioles fans, will be inducted into the Cal Ripken Senior Collegiate Baseball League game, as my former colleague Tyler Lochte gives me the little O as he's an Orioles fan. 1-2. This one hit hard but flied up. Orr calls for it, has it in his glove for out number 1.
Yeah, routine play for Orr. However, Wildison, his resume that has earned him this all-star spot. He has 12 innings pitched. He's appeared in 3 games. In those 12 innings, he has 8 strikeouts, only 4 walks, given up 17 hits. He has not allowed an ERA over 3. It's been a very productive pitcher for the Giants. One of the many all-stars we've seen come in from the bullpen or subbed into the game. As you mentioned, this is a do-or-die part of the season for the Giants. Need their best players in whenever they can be.
1-0 to Troch, now finds the zone 1-1. Yeah, do or die is kind of an understatement at this point, but numerous times now TJ Brockway talking about how he just wants his guys to relax. This one hit hard and past Aiden Marino. Not much he could do about that. Marino replacing Michael Contigliano at second. And now another single. This time Adam Troch. Sounds like maybe some leftover fireworks going off in the neighborhood nearby.
Yeah, on my drive back from last night's game, I saw a large firework off of 495. It was a fun little thing to see. Been hearing them numerous times throughout the last inning and a half.
Scoring to bunt, getting it down. White fields it, only play at first, and throws over for out number 2. Zach White kind of had a really good handle on that. Just dripped out of his glove. Maybe could have gotten Troch at second. I didn't think Troch would be there long anyway. As I mentioned previously, the 16 stolen bases for Troch. He stands on second now.
Yeah, it was a nice bunt from Tribble there, and as you mentioned, a little bobble from Zach White. However, zips it over to Hollub to make the out and has a little smile on his face, getting set for this next pitch.
First pitch to Kraus, inside for ball 1. Kraus had an error in the bottom of the 3rd, which allowed Gaithersburg to continue plating runs. 1-0. He flies this one into left field, or gets a good read on it. Had to make a couple adjustments, but does get the line out. And Britton Wildison, a nice first inning in relief as he replaced Brady Fox. And we'll go to the bottom of the 5th. The score is still 8-1 on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. A new arm on the mound for the Senators, already their third as we go to the bottom of the fifth. It's Luke Emery, the rising senior from Fairmont State.
Yeah, Emery has pitched against the Giants twice. One of the games, that was on June 4th, where the Senators won 9-5. The other one on June 27th, where the Giants won 7-1. In those two appearances, he has pitched 3 2/3 innings against the Giants. He's allowed 5 runs, struck out 4 Giants in the process of that, and 1 walk.
As Rudisil watches the first pitch, it's ball outside. One and 0 to Rudisil. Had a hard single his last time up. Watches strike one there.
Yeah, I mentioned that single brought in one of the 8 runs we've seen from the Giants so far.
This one fouled up into the netting. And now we have the full substitutions. MJ Phillips now at first, replacing Steven Krause, and Calvin Cook at shortstop, replacing Nick Flores. And then the new catcher that we couldn't identify last inning is Logan Quaid. Quaid not listed on the roster that I have in front of me. Actually, no, he's listed as a pitcher, excuse me.
He's the mystery man. He has no stats, no nothing for the Senators, so I believe this is his first appearance.
Interesting as well, MJ Phillips, the first baseman, listed as a pitcher. We've seen him at first base and hitting a couple times. I actually haven't seen Phillips on the mound at all yet. This one hit right to Phillips, a soft ground ball, race to first, and Phillips just beats out Rudisil for out number 1.
Yeah, Phillips was hitting a leisurely jog over and saw Rudisil coming with his full steam at the speed up, gets there just in time. But yeah, we're sorry for the delayed information. We did not get that relayed to us until just now. So thank you, David, for informing us of the new players.
Can thank our assistant GM, Daniel Harrington. Now, Hentz grounds this over to Surowick, who has enough time to look at the threads of the baseball and then throw it over in time. And quickly there's 2 gone as Emery continues this inning.
Yeah, game has sped up quite a bit since that third inning from the Giants, where 7 of their runs came from.
That brings up Aaron Babayev now. You never want to say that on the broadcast, Jake. That always is a doomsday level sentence when you say the game is sped up. Always means something might happen to slow it down. First pitch to Babayev was strike 1. 0-1, missing low. Now 1-1. So Luke Quaid, the sophomore from Mount Aloysius, excuse me if I butchered that, or Logan Quaid, excuse me, from Mount Aloysius, now behind the plate, has to throw it back to his pitcher there. 2-1.
Yeah, going back to the curse, I haven't experienced the time curse yet. Now I've definitely.
This one hit hard and off the forearm there of Phillips, who had an easy first ground ball put to him by Rudisil, but that one a much harder hit by Babayev, who now stands on first, his second hit of the game.
Yeah, Babayev, that one came off the bat at 95. It looked like it could have hit MJ Phillips in the wrist, but he seems to be fine. And just back to what I was saying, there's definitely been announcer curses with players getting hits or striking out when they've seemingly not to, and I've mentioned that, but as I said, still waiting on that time curse, so I don't want to say I'll believe it when I see it and scare you a little more, but I have not seen that one come into effect yet.
First pitch to Aiden Marino in his first plate appearance this game. First two pitches actually miss on Marino. Marino taking over for Michael Contigliano at second base. Now 2-0. Runner goes. That pitch inside on Marino. No throw from Logan Quaid. And a stolen base for Aaron Babayev.
Interested to see what's going on with Logan Quaid. I mean, we saw Henley steal a pair of bags against Quaid in there. Just another no throw.
Babayev goes again. That one inside, ball 4. It actually got away from Quaid. And now runners on the corners after 2 stolen bases by Babayev. And I'm not sure if Emery is just not checking on Babayev with 2 outs, or if he's really just relying on his catcher to try and add some defensive specialties here. But no throws on the steals from Gaithersburg as Logan Quaid had entered this game. Zach White watches ball 1 just above the belt on White.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder. I mean, you know, I don't know if the Senators are just out of catchers or what has happened, but Quaid does not seem to resemble a catcher so far in this game.
That one popped into the netting by White, 1-1. Yeah, you might be right, because when I was looking pregame, I wasn't sure if it was Chet Bowling. I believe it was Chet Bowling was X'd out of the roster. That one misses or finds the zone. Delayed strike call had me fooled, but Marino does swipe second base. 1-2. Emery 1 pitch away from getting out of this one. Chet Bowling, the other rostered catcher, was scratched off this lineup. Swing and a miss from White. Gaithersburg unable to add any more runs as the wind starts to kick up here in Gaithersburg. We'll head to the top of the 6th inning. And a special announcement, my former colleague Tyler Lochte will join us for that top half of the 6th inning. So if you want to hear from the Giants play-by-play man from the last 2 summers, stay with us on the Giants Broadcast Network.
This is weird.
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. David Lewis alongside me, Jake Tseronis, and then alongside the two of us, Tyler Lochte has returned to the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back, Tyler, here in Gaithersburg.
It's so great to be here. Giants never quit. Everything. It's strange.
This one hit right back to Wildison. 1 pitch, 1 out. Logan Quaid not having the best first at bat. Number 40, Logan Quaid, taking over for number 4, Jax Nichols. So, Tyler, we had a lot of great memories last season. Maybe the summer before, not as many, but, I mean, there were a lot of things that obviously were just amazing moments. What was one that stuck out for you? Because I know there were a lot of great games you called last summer.
I don't know. Some of those games against the Big Train were just games that I know we will never forget. You know, you think about A.J. Martin, the legend, with the grand slams that he hit. You have the train conductor with the walk-off. I mean, it was just so great. But I'll tell you what, coming today and seeing how the Giants are playing, it's reminiscent, I think, of last season's team. I mean, this has just been a great performance from top to bottom here tonight.
It certainly has, and last night, I think you would have hate to have been there as a comeback came up short against the Big Train. So, two of the worst things, a comeback coming up short and then also a loss to the Big Train. So, I mean, was not the best game originally, but actually in the first couple innings it was, but the middle frames not great. But this team obviously has played with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of passion, stuff that we saw the last couple years. And I also have a question for you. So Danny Orr, the younger brother of Jacob Orr, the current left fielder for Gaithersburg, is there anything that, you were a big UMD baseball guy, so what are some thoughts when the Orr name comes to mind for you?
I love his stance. That was the first thing. It's weird to be down at the 10 instead of up here just sweating my butt off in the booth. But the first thing I saw about him was the stance, and that was just... It's unique, that's for sure.
This one is flown out to said Danny Orr, and he makes the grab.
And he made a heck of a grab earlier in this game, too, flashing the leather. It's cool to see an Orr playing for the Giants instead of the Train for once, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago, Danny actually mentioned how Jacob played for a different Cal Ripken team every summer that he was in this league, which is very interesting. I know he played for only 1 year and then finished with the Big Train. Not sure who was in between. First pitch to Carter Groen there for strike one, or excuse me, not Carter Groen, Alex Martin. Alex Martin grounds this one over to Rudisil. Backhand throws across the diamond, and another pick from Holub. Well, Tyler, our inning was a little short-lived there, so you're always welcome back here and welcome back anytime you please. But just overall, what have you liked here in front of you, this Gaithersburg Giants team?
I think there's a will to win. Our first year together here in 23, it was a tough season. But while this is still that same thing, that tough year, I just see a different passion, a different energy from the boys in the dugout and from the boys that just keep walking over to say hi by the tent. This is a team that really wants to win, and they were telling me, hey, we've got 2 losses the rest of the year. We're going to be a playoff team. So I hope that's the case. I hope that you guys can call some playoff baseball, and I hope this year is going to turn out better than last for the Giants.
Yeah, well, I hope for your sake as well that the Maryland Whipsnakes, is that your PLL team? I know you're a big lacrosse guy. So.
Absolutely. I have so many friends on that team, but I have them all scattered all over the place.
Oh, well, I know it was a great lacrosse season for you. Didn't really end the way.
Hey, we beat Syracuse. That's what matters.
You did beat my Syracuse Orange, so you do have my number there yet again, because Syracuse lacrosse can never quite deliver the finishing touches on a season. But I mean, we're really hoping that the Giants can provide some finishing touches here as they did last year. 23-13 was their mark last year. Obviously not the case this year, Tyler. But thank you so much for joining us, and love to have you back anytime.
Hey, G and Q forever, man. That's what it's all about.
Tyler Lochte, Giants broadcaster, play-by-play broadcaster from the last 2 summers, just joining us as he makes his way back to the PA Mike, where he has been for this game. Tyler, a recent graduate of UMD, and again, another UMD guy steps up to the plate. It's Nate Houghton-Henley, who's reached base all 3 times. First pitch to Henley, swing and a miss there. So, Jake, we didn't really talk too much baseball last inning. It was quite a quick inning for Burton Wildison, his second inning in relief to get through the top of the 6th.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to talking to Tyler a little bit. I mean, of course, we got to introduce each other, but, as you mentioned, you guys barely even got to catch up. Just shows how Wildtain's dominance, in that dominance, still not a lot of strikeouts. Another great play from Bryce Rudisil and Andrew Holub to end that inning, but Yeah, as he said at the start, this has been a very complete baseball game for the Giants offensively and defensively, and they've just been keeping that up.
Yeah, very complete game thus far. Really hoping to close it out here. 3-1 to the leadoff guy, Nate Houghton-Henley, who has 4 stolen bases, 2 runs, 2 singles, and hit by pitch to top it off. Not going to reach base on that pitch, however. That fills up the count, 3-2 to Nate Houghton-Henley. Full count pitch from Emery. This one fouled off and lines itself into the Giants bullpen. Michael Cantilliano up walking around, was taken out of this game. I did see him on the training table, but good news for Gaithersburg. He seems to be all right. Aiden Marino took his place. This one popped up off the bat of Henley, tailing foul. Will it get there? Yes, it will. Somehow bounced fair, well, not fair, I should say, was in foul territory, but not out of play, and none of the Senators came up with that baseball.
Yeah, again, I mean, we have that's about the worst view we have from our press box, so we cannot tell you what exactly happened there, but Henley stays alive.
I did see a baseball jump up and over the fence, so I assumed that it was. And now Dawson Smale taking over in center for Adam Trotch. Scott Middleton does this a lot where he unloads the bench, but usually it happens while his team is winning, and that is not the case here. Nate Houghton-Henley on first. Check swing by Orr, called strike one anyway. Nate Houghton-Henley aboard for the 4th time this game.
Or has not.
Henley takes off, throw is away, and Henley his 5th stolen base this game.
Yeah, just as I was saying there, Danny Orr has yet to reach base compared to Henley, who has been very active on the base path. There we see a slide with his feet, however, was still safe.
Yeah. Orr the only, and Henley goes again. Orr grounds this one over to Surowick. And the throw over in time into the glove of Phillips, who had to pick that one on a knee. And unfortunately, I didn't get enough time to reverse jinx Orr there. I was going to say he's the only Giant to yet to reach base, and remains that way after the ground out to Surowick at third.
Yeah, but with that ground out, able to evade Henley with the help with the steal before the hit. Just with all these changes we've seen, we know who the center's catcher is, but as we mentioned, we have no idea much else about him.
Logan Quaid has no stats recorded in the field. We could only assume that Jax Nichols maybe suffered an injury, because no lead is really safe here in the Cal Ripken League. An offense can turn it up. A pitcher can miss spots in a second. Holub puts this one in the gap, and Henley will score for the 3rd time this game. It's now 9-1 Gaithersburg, and Andrew Holub with his 2nd RBI single of the game.
Yeah, it's back-to-back RBI singles, matches RBI count on last night. Earlier this game, Holub kind of had a slower hit ground ball on the right side of the diamond. This time, this one's off the bat at 90 on the left side.
Pickoff attempt, Holub just puts his foot back out on the bag. Probably thought that it was a easier get back than it was. Emery still battling on the mound. Colin Hughes fouls off the first pitch. Holub has just been an RBI machine. As you mentioned, Jake, 2 last night, 2 already in this game. And Nate Houghton-Henley as well. 5 stolen bases, 5 stolen bases. The 6th one not counting, as Danny Orr put that one into play. So count remains for 5 stolen bases for Henley, but still 3 runs scored and 2 singles as well. 1-1. Left out. Now 2-1 to Colin Hughes.
You talk about the RBIs. Holub only trails Orr now by 1.
2-1. Left out, gets out of the glove of Quaid, but don't think Holub is going to take off anywhere. Holub will probably be the first to tell you he isn't really a speed demon that much. That one inside on Hughes, and he's aboard with a walk. Now 2 on, 1 out for Bryce Rudisil.
Rudisil, another man with an RBI single in this game. However, he is only 1 for 3. Now, with a runner in scoring position.
Rudisil has been seeing the ball pretty well this game, but has only reached base once, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Rudisil doesn't have the RBI count that Holub has, but trying to move his statistic up 1.
1-0 from Luke Emery. This one hit hard and tucked over the first base bag, it appeared to us, but called foul.
I was just going to say, sorry, Rudisil shaking his head, walking back.
Yeah.
Not too happy with that. However, does get an extra life.
I was just going to say that was really puzzling play to us. I mean, one of the main poles that supports the foul netting here literally blocked from where the baseball landed, and the umpire as well, so I couldn't really tell it was foul. Rudisil pops this one up into the netting. That one is for sure foul, and the count is now 1-2 to the Mount St. Mary's man.
Yeah, you talk about foul balls. Just going with that. There's only been 3 strikeouts this game across the Giants roster. So they've done a great job with putting the ball in play, or at least making contact against a Senator pitch.
1-2. This one hit hard by Colin Hughes into deep right field, backtracking, and it goes off the fence right into the corner. Rudisil being held at second. I thought Colin Hughes was going to be sent home, and he wasn't. So a stand-up RBI double for Rudisil. Excuse me if I said it was Hughes out of the box.
It's a hit that looked like Hughes, so I can't blame you too much. I was just gonna say, sorry, I left my seat to see where this would land, and I mean it was far back there. Can't tell if I hit the warning track, but yeah, that was just a pop from Rudisil.
Unfortunately, we don't have the TrackMan on that one. Did not tag it properly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I looked over and I see 64 miles an hour. I'm like, that was nuts.
Yeah.
How fast that ball came off the bat.
So a stand-up RBI double for Bryce Rudisil scores Andrew Holub. Colin Hughes now stands on third. This one hit hard by Hentz, lined right at Calvin Cook. Has it go off his legs. Colin Hughes scores. Now Rudisil being sent home. And it's 12-1 Gaithersburg. Cade Hentz scoring Colin Hughes with a hard hit 2 RBI single.
Yeah, it's another situation where a ball has deflected off of a Senator glove. They can't seem to catch a break. That one off the bat at 96. So again, not the easiest play in the world. However, did make contact with the ball in his glove. However, 2 Giants score on the same play.
And after 2 hard hit balls back to back, that'll chase Luke Emery out of this game. Another big inning for Gaithersburg. It's now 12-1. Cade Hentz on first base, just 1 out, and a new arm coming in for the Senators. We'll step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network.
You're all right, sweet. 1-2.
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. The fourth pitcher for the Senators in this game. It's Dawson Weatherald, another Mount Aloysius guy, throwing to his college teammate in Logan Quaid. He'll face Aaron Babayev with Cade Hentz on first in a 12-1 ball game.
Yeah, so Dawson Weatherfield, he's a Mount Aloysius player. So he's...
First pitch, Hentz goes, gets into second, and he's safe with that steal.
And sorry, just as I was going to talk about some of the stats, Weatherald, another pitcher that has faced the Giants, played the Giants on June 9th. He had one inning pitched, allowed a hit. In the season, he's got an ERA of 8.64. He has 7 games played, 8 1/3 inning pitched, 4 strikeouts, and 9 walks.
Well, he's missed the first 2 times now on Babayev. Again, Logan Quaid, the catcher for the Senators, taking over for Jax Nichols. Not an everyday catcher. Might be an emergency catcher situation. We don't know the scope of what happened to Nichols. Scott Middleton, also the manager for the Senators, is pretty much known for unloading his bench as he's done here. Now 4 defensive subs. 3-0. Babayev just froze to watch strike 1.
Yeah, you say froze. Babayev rested his bat on his shoulder. Literally, it did not move an inch.
See if he moves here. 3-1. Moved a little bit, but will now walk down to first base.
Yeah, he gave Weatherald the grace of a load-up step. However, the Senators have seemed to lost a flame in this game. Don't know if it's from the injuries or the missed opportunities in the field. However, it has just been Giants all day.
I mentioned the 4 defensive subs in addition to the 3 pitching subs that the Senators have had, and not even through the 6th inning. Runners go, throw down to third, Hentz into third as the throw got away from Danny Surwick, and Babayev into second. Double steal there for Gaithersburg. Pays off. Now 2 runners in scoring position. 1 away.
I believe that throw got away from Surwick, but it didn't look like a bad jump from Quaid, to be honest with you. Like I said, ball got away, play wasn't made.
This one hit hard, lined right to Surwick. And we were speaking to Casey Gibbs, third base coach for Gaithersburg, before last night's game, talking about Aiden Marino, how he's been hitting the ball hard, but just not able to find the gaps. And right there, that's evident. 93 off the bat, but just right to the glove of Danny Surwick for the second out. Quaid blocks that one to keep Hentz at third and Babayev at second. 1-0. White watches that one come in high.
Yeah, Weatherald struggling to find the zone in his short outing so far.
2-0. This one fouled off by White.
Yeah, something I also just noticed, Weatherald, it's only for a second, but actually reveals his hand in his motion. If you see, he holds his hand out of his glove. It's not something you see often from a pitcher, especially at the collegiate level.
2-1. Misses low and inside. Yeah, I was actually going to mention the same thing. He kind of puts his throwing hand with the ball in it straight down as he picks up his front leg before planting it and following through. 3-1, chopped over to Surwick, who fields it, throws over in time. Run doesn't score, and that is critical to the end of this game, because had Cade Hentz scored, it would have been 13-1, which means Giants would have been 3 outs away from enforcing the mercy rule. However, it's just an 11-run game, 12-1, as we go to the 7th. So as long as it stays 11 or less, we'll keep playing here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Just come back now. Oh, yeah. Talk about it. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. 12-1 the score now as the Giants plate 4 more in the bottom of the 6th. Ray Huke now on the mound, replacing Britton Wildison, who replaced the starter in this game, Brady Fox.
Ray Huke, sophomore at Columbia University, has a record of 1-1. He's appeared in 4 games, has 7 2/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 8 walks, and 15 hits.
Looking for a bounce-back outing is Huke, who was on vacation for a little stretch, but then came back. I believe he was overseas in London. 1-0. This one popped up, may have been a broken back. Marino calls for it and makes the grab in shallow right. Twisting and turning was Marino to get under that one. And there's one away.
Yeah, that one, again, another hit that could have ended up in no man's land, just didn't have the exit speed off the bat to get there. And Marino tracking back a little awkwardly, able to get under it and make the catch.
That brings up the top of the order for the Senators, but this time it's Calvin Cook in his first at-bat. Took over defensively for Nick Flores. Flores was 0 for 3 in this game, but now it's Calvin Cook in the 1 spot. Watches 2 balls out of the hand of Huke.
I mean, of course, Flores 0 for 3 looking for some change, but Calvin Cook is batting .091 on the season. Has 1 triple, however, has not had the pop this season.
He watches strike 1 there. So Scott Middleton, that is the manager for the Senators, just trying to give guys a look. Still can come back. 3 innings left. They're down 11. This one hit hard by Cook, ranging back is Orr, and he makes the grab. Originally, Orr maybe took a step in and then hesitated before having to make his way backwards a couple feet, but does make the grab.
Yeah, like you said, that is outfielding 101. Step back first there. He had to quickly track back and didn't have an unfortunate error as he was able to make the catch, but that brings it out number 2.
That brings up Dawson Smale, the rising sophomore at Xavier. Xavier was the home of a Giants starter from last year. I believe is Ashton Chronister. Chronister was a big piece of the starting rotation for Gaithersburg, standing at 6'6", I believe, and then Trey Sahajic from Tulane standing at 6'7". Both of them became starters for Gaithersburg last year. Now 3-0 in the first at-bat for Dawson Smale.
Smale with a little more stats than Cook. He's batting .231 on the season. He's got 3 RBIs to his name.
And it's a 4-pitch walk for Dawson Smale, so he'll add to his on-base percentage and his walk totals after that at-bat. Now, Logan Tribble, one of the few original roster pieces that started this game for the Senators, will step up to bat.
Tribble currently 1.
Grounded over to Hentz, has a high hop, but he fields it nicely. The tall shortstop flags it down, flips it to Marino at second for the 3rd out. You didn't get a chance to really speak about Tribble, but I mean, didn't give you much of an at bat.
Yeah, there wasn't too much important facts to say about him there. Just all you got to know is now he is 1 for 3.
And now Gaithersburg has a chance to walk it off in essence, as a single run plated would end this game. It's 12-1, and we're stretching here at Criswell Automotive Field, and we'll be right back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Gaithersburg, a chance to do what they haven't done all season, and that's walk it off. We enter the 7th inning, however, the 12-run mercy rule now in effect. As we are through 7 innings, Gaithersburg up 11, 12-1 on the Southern Maryland Senators here in Gaithersburg.
Yeah, Henley, the only guy in this game, he has got to get on base. Every time he's been up, he's got 2 singles, a hit by pitch, and a walk.
Watches first 2 balls to Henley. So, yeah, in addition to the 2 singles and hit by pitch and a walk, 3 runs scored and 5 stolen bases for Henley. 2-0, misses high, 3-0. And then in addition to that, he was stranded on third back in the first inning. So very well could have been 4 runs for Henley and 4 trips at the plate. 3-0 inside, 4-pitch walk to lead off this inning for Henley. He is the winning run, and he is on first base.
And, just you're talking about his stats there. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see him on second or third pretty promptly. We'll see what Casey Gibbs calls for at third.
Pitch from Weatherald, or hits this one into deep left center, and that is gone! A walk-off 2-run home run for Danny Orr ends this game. 14-1 Gaithersburg, as Danny Orr cranks one 367-99 off the bat, and the UMBC retriever hadn't reached base all game and reaches them all there to end this one.
Yeah, that was a shot, almost a no-doubter. Outfielders for the Senators gave it a couple jogs, but quickly turned around and started heading into the dugout, and a breath of life for the Giants. As you said, first time they've reached a mercy, and a 14-1 win after a tough loss to the Big Train last night. Excited to see him going with this momentum. They've had some wins. They've had some dominating wins, but nothing like this we've seen so far.
Yeah, this is quite the story here, as Gaithersburg had a come up short, but this time puts the hurt on the Senators. 14-1 the final score, as Danny Orr with a walk-off 2-run home run ends this game. Well, maybe it was the power of Tyler Lochte, who was back in the house pumping his fists up at us. Jake, that was a really nice game, start to finish for Gaithersburg.
I mean, yeah, this game we were just talking about how, it's been awesomely a part of the Gaithersburg Giants team. It's just, you want to see these guys win. You see them out here almost every day giving it their all, and today you just get to see them go out there, have fun, lots of smiles on the field from all players, and, they get, not only that they get a win, they get out of here a little earlier than usual, get some more rest tonight. There was nothing to say. There's nothing bad to say about any Giants player this game. He said Danny Orr was the only guy to not get on base, and right there to end the game is a 2-run home run. So, it was an all-around game from the team. You love to see it, and you hope to see more of it.
Well, you're going to have your hands full with interviews as TJ Brockway goes to greet his guys. So, for Jake Tseronis, I'm David Lewis, signing off just over the 2-hour mark of this game as the Giants take down the Southern Maryland Senators 14-1 here in Gaithersburg. They'll be right back at it tomorrow, but on the road. And we'll have the game streaming for you. We hope you can tune in and be sure to make it out to the All-Star game this Wednesday at Shirley Povich Field. Thank you all for tuning in.